It's been a while since I made a video like this, and I figured, let's keep it casual while also as informative as possible. Hey, I'm Too Sketchy, a RTS connoisseur of sorts, covering a wide variety of different RTS games over the years. Some of you may know me from the Dawn of War 3 days, others from Iron Harvest, and a bunch of strategy games in between. But today we'll be taking a look at Men of War 2, a game that's been on my wishlist since 2021. But before we do, quick prayge hands to Fulqrum Publishing for blessing us with this early access version prior to its full release to be given the privilege to bring you this video. Thank you. With that being said, let's dive in. First, let's cover all the things Men of War 2 has to offer, and then dive into each of them a little deeper without making this video too long. Hopefully. Maybe. Probably not. Strap in.
What's wrong with your seatbelt? I gotta come check it.
Men of War 2 is a real-time strategy game which takes place during World War II, but it's definitely leaning more towards a real-time tactics game. And for the viewers not familiar of the difference between RTS and RTTs, RTS games often involve building structures and developing large armies by managing resources gathered by workers or builders, whereas RTTs commonly do not feature resource gathering or in-game production, base building / economic management, stuff like that, and instead focus more on tactical advantages while mostly micromanaging all the units at your disposal. Also, I should apologize if at any point during this video I tutorialize or break things down like I just did. I naturally tend to broaden my reach to people who are beginners or may have zero knowledge about strategy games, in particular RTS games, as I believe it's up to us, the RTS community, to carry the torch and share as much as possible for the next generation of upcoming strategy gamers. It's a known fact that RTS games can be a daunting genre to jump into, especially if it's not something you've been exposed to. So if you're a veteran, some of this may be obvious, but trust me, someone out there is hearing this for the first time, and making them feel included makes this whole YouTubing thing 10 times more worth it, hands down. So on release, you'll be able to play with 3 nations, with some to come hopefully down the road, but starting off the Soviets, the US of A, and the Germans, all of which will have access to a vast, and I mean a vast variety of units to unlock in both their extensive PvP and PVE multiplayer modes, including ranked matchmaking. So right off the rip, you'll be delving into like 3 narrative campaigns, 2 historical campaigns, 6 bonus missions, a dynamic conquest campaign, and skirmish-like raid modes with 17 missions that will randomly generate each time you restart, by the way. More on that later. So if you're a solo player enthusiast, there's so much content to dig your teeth into compared to other RTS games that I've played in the past, at least. However, if you do decide to bring in a few friends, all of the single player content that I just mentioned is playable in co-op, with up to 5 players, by the way. That's crazy. Plus, it comes with full mod support and editor support, which I'm not too familiar with from past Men of War iterations, but I do know enough that the modding community is going to crush it, so I'm eager to see what they cook up. Alright, so let's go deeper. Story. As I mentioned before, you'll be able to choose from 3 nations, the Soviets, the US of A, and the Germans, which all of these will include 6 handcrafted missions for each faction, following a fictional characters designed to challenge you across a variety of playstyles. The biggest takeaway from this is, and this will remain true for the majority of single-player content, you will be unlocking rewards, in this case golden collectible units, for completing each mission / objective to be used in multiplayer games, and be given supplies to purchase these units. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell is a golden collectible unit? Don't worry, we'll get to that as we delve into the multiplayer section of this video. Just know that the more you grind single player content, the more gold units you unlock to be used in multiplayer. And before any alarms go off in your head, no, there is no in-game store, no microtransaction. Everything is unlocked by simply playing the game. Historical campaigns. So unlike the story campaign that we just covered, these historical missions are loosely based on the events that took place during World War II. From Operation Overlord and storming a beach that you may have heard of, to Operation Bagration and pushing the enemy out of Belarus, plus those 6 missions that I mentioned before. Here, you will also be unlocking collectible units, but this time they're purple. Purple meaning they can be researched for single player content. Another thing, compared to the story campaigns, starting with historical mode, a unique feature becomes available, that being you having access to each faction's technology tree. Now, since this is the first time I'm mentioning a tech tree, let's go ahead and break it down. By the way, did I mention MetaMore 2 has a lot of content? This may be the chunkiest part of the video, as this took me a while to wrap my head around, but once you get clicking in the menus, things start to make sense. So, first things first, historical, conquest, and raids are the three modes that will feature their own tech tree, meaning the tech tree progress you have made in historical playthrough, for example, will not carry over to the conquest tech tree. The progress in each is unique. Also, both Conquest and Raid have a wider range of tech to unlock, allowing you to field more unique or experimental units compared to the ones available in the historical tech tree. For example, here is the historical tech tree, and here is the Conquest tech tree. Now, as you click on the Technology tab, in whichever mode you desire, there are a few things worth breaking down. Free XP, Unit XP, Faction Currency, Available to Unlock section, and the Show Full Version section. There's also a handy rules button that covers some of this. Let's start with the first one, Free XP. Free XP is earned by simply playing and completing missions. For example, you will receive 500 free XP if you complete this landing mission, or 1000 free XP for completing this Before the Storms mission. Think of free XP as experience that can be used by any unit in your available roster to research the next tech. Unit XP, however, is slightly different. You see that silver star on the bottom right of this rifleman squad? That is the amount of experience points it has earned while performing actions in battle. Whether it was damaging or eliminating an enemy or even capturing territory, the more you use this unit, the more XP you gain for this particular unit. That kind of makes sense. However, if you see the same star, but in the upper left part of the unit, this means it's the total amount of XP needed to unlock or to be unlocked. So whether that's free XP or unit XP that you've gathered, or maybe even a bit of both, it all kind of depends how you use your units and how you spend your XP across your tech. Take a shot every time I said XP. TLDR, both the free and unit XP is what you'll be using to unlock tech. That's the short of it. Here, let me show you. All right, so here we go. I just got done gaming. I have 444 free XP. I used the M2 a few times, used the Steward a bunch of times. That's why it has 1000 XP. But to be able to upgrade my M2 to the M1, I need 273 XP. Obviously, this only has 58 XP. So what it'll do, it'll let me know, hey, the next upgrade costs this much XP. So if I click on this, it will take the remaining amount of XP needed to be able to upgrade to the M1. So it costs 273, right? The unit before this has 58 XP, so the difference is 215 free XP would be used. So if I go ahead and upgrade this, you'll see my bank here go down. So let's go ahead and press unlock. So now I have 229 free XP. I can go ahead and continue doing this. For example, if I want the Browning to be upgraded to the, not upgraded, but I would research the next tier. So this would be the Browning M2. It takes 225 experience points. Unfortunately, I have no XP on this, but I certainly have enough free XP. So it'll let me know here, hey, it costs 225. The unit before this doesn't have any XP, but you can use your free XP to be able to upgrade this. And you know what? Sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do so. So now I only have 4 XP, well, free XP remaining. What I wanted to showcase here is that the Steward can tech up into several different trees, 3 specifically. So we can get the LVT-A1, we can get the M5 Steward, and the M2-A1. And none of these would use any of the free XP because it has a significant amount of XP already earned. So that means if I unlock this one, it will dig into its unit XP. Now if I unlock this one, it would also dig into its unit XP. And now it only has one more remaining, and that is 98 XP, so that's a pretty simple investment there. However, pay attention to this, ready? I only have 4 free XP. And now let's go ahead and unlock it. Do you see what happened there? There's a remaining balance I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but the fact that we're gonna have some remaining, and the fact that there's nothing else to research, there's a remaining balance that'll go back to your free XP. I don't know exactly what that remaining balance is or what the percentage is. It doesn't really explain it anywhere, but it's something to note if you are going to unlock a bunch of stuff and if you are accruing a certain amount of XP on a unit, because as of right now, this unit and it gathering XP isn't going to help you moving forward because, well, there's nothing else to unlock starting from here. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. Now that you have unlocked a technology and or tiered up to the next unit, you will need to pay for it using your faction's currency to add it to your roster. That's what the faction currency is used for. Stocking up on tech you've unlocked and managing how much of said tech you want to have available. And speaking of availability, the available unlock section automatically shows what units you can unlock with the amount of XP you have at this current moment, while the full version shows you the entire tree all at once. This will help you rush specific units if you want. Oh, and you can also hover your mouse over them to see the direct line for clarity. I think that covers the basics for now. There might be some follow-up videos to explain some niche features here and there, and maybe even some guides in the future. The like and sub ratio of this video will let me know if that's what you want or not. Let's move on. Oh, and by the way, as soon as you launch Men of War 2 for the first time, I highly recommend heading over to the Learn tab, to the Basic Training section, and completing all 12 tutorial missions that they give you, not only to understand things like basic controls, how to spawn units, how supply works, basic infantry, all types of stuff, but also, on top of that, upon completing them, you get multiplayer rewards that you can use in your multiplayer rosters. So that's pretty damn cool. Conquest and Raids. So let's quickly touch on the Conquest and Raid mode before we jump into the last segment, which will be multiplayer. So Conquest is a dynamic mode where you will be utilizing the tech tree as before, but now you will be required to defend points you've attacked in this turn-based sort of campaign. You will grow your forces and strategize which battalions to use offensively or defensively, while also being able to unlock more battalions to join the cause if you're able to complete certain milestones. While in raid campaigns, it's more in line with traditional skirmish missions, very similar to multiplayer battles that are randomly generated each time you restart a new raid campaign. And just like before, completing certain objectives will give you rewards to bring to the campaign, or rewards you with multiplayer goodies. Always make sure to check the objectives menu. This way you know what's to come, what you can unlock, and what you will be able to benefit from down the line in whichever campaign that you're playing. Okay, it's been over 10 minutes and we haven't even touched multiplayer yet. So let's speedrun this because I'm sure you have somewhere to be. So there are 4 multiplayer modes: PvP Battalions, PVE Battalions, Classic, and Combined Arms. PvP Battalions should feel familiar as it uses the same battalions you've been using in all of your single player content, plus all the golden collectible units you've collected so far will be available here. This is also where you'll be spending those supplies you've been grinding for to further grow your multiplayer battalions by customizing a deck of units to bring to the battle. There are some limitations when it comes to customizing a battalion as to what can go in what slot. A more dedicated video may be needed, but essentially, when you remove all of your units, you'll see an icon, and only units with this matching icon can be added to said slot. Also, each unit has a battle rating. This isn't exclusive to multiplayer, but I figured I'd cover it here since it's also true for single player battalions. Battle rating is the presence of a unit. When the game starts, you will only be able to call in Echelon 1.
Only the first echelon is available at the moment,
which is this group of units here. And after some time passes, Echelon 2 and later Echelon 3. These echelons have a battle rating limit, meaning you can't surpass its threshold, making your decisions very important as to what to bring to each battle. I should also note that while this is the flagship multiplayer experience, this mode is played in 4v4 and 5v5 only, making this one of the first competitive group military RTS games I've experienced. cost. While I can choose whatever battalion I want, it may be wise to choose something that your squad needs, you know, whether it's infantry or armor or even artillery support, depicted by each of these rows right here. Question for you: if you had to choose a main to play, whether infantry, armor, or artillery, which one would you be? I should also note that in battalions, whether PvP or PvE, there are modifiers that apply to each battalion. So, for example, the 1st Infantry Battalion here has modifiers that support having more infantry, compared to something like the 1st Tank Regiment, which has more modifiers that support having more tanks, and not so much as you can see here, basic infantry is plus 100% battle rank modifier. So if I were to show an example, in the 1st Infantry Battalion, as you can see, the riflemen recruits, if I put in 13 of them, they equal to 36 battle ranks, allowing me to pretty much load up on a bunch of infantry members. Now, if we go back to the 1st Tank Regiment, you'll see that 13 riflemen actually cost me 78 battle rank. So I shouldn't be loading up on too many infantry members. Hope that makes sense. And this is true for all the other battalions. Each battalion do have their own unique modifiers that you'll be able to check out here at the bottom. However, this is not true for both Classic and Combined, as Classic and Combined do not have modifiers. Next up is PVE Battalions, which is essentially the same thing, but instead of opposing players, you're going against the AI with the help of other players. Classic is a traditional take on the old Men of War series, where you're given a large selection of each army with no customization options whatsoever compared to battalions, and you face off like you used to back in the day, while Combined Arms does a little bit of both, battalion and classic combined, pun intended. Most of these modes revolve around the front line mechanic, by the way, which is all about pushing the front line in this tug-of-war style battle, similar to something that we've seen games like Warno or Steel Division, while also attacking certain points that the AI will call out randomly during the fight, like go capture this point, and then you have a certain amount of time to go capture it, and then you'll be given some bonus points.
Attack the marked position. That's an order.
Follow me, guys.
Target has been captured. Additional points received.
Besides that, the game will come with a large selection to choose from in terms of the lobby settings, if you want to customize your experience even further, as well as seasons, which are called leagues, to earn bragging rights, as well as units and supply along the way. So, with units having detailed information about their stats, replay functionality, player profile stats, and a very dense progression system, I will say, Men of War 2 has impressed me, and I'm happy that I've waited this long for this series to come out, as I believe it will fuel our niche genre with a new wave of players and memories alike. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments below, as I am usually lurking within the first hour or two of uploading a video. Anyways, I hope this helped sort of get acquainted with what to expect from Men of War 2, and with that being said, I'll see you on the battlefield. My name is Sketchy, and I'll see you then. Peace!